So we have just arrived at the European Commission for the Citizens Panel on Food Waste. The Citizens Panel on Food Waste aims to bring together 150 citizens from different countries in Europe to discuss and come up with creative ways that the nation can reduce its food waste. So currently about a third of all food that's produced worldwide gets thrown out, and there are some staggering figures for the amount of food waste that Europe produces as well. So we've just arrived here. It's about 8:30 in the morning. The group of citizens has met about 3 times over the past 3 months, and they have been discussing ideas and solutions to this problem. Today they're going to present those ideas to the Commission, and hopefully they will then be considered to be brought forward into legislation.
I'm Aoife, I'm 20 years old from Cork. I was never involved in an experience like this before. We got to come to Brussels twice and we did one session online. At the start I had no previous knowledge of food waste other than maybe just skimming on it in school, so it was really nice to, I suppose, hear from experts and hear about how we can make a difference, not even just us as consumers but all throughout the food chain, you know, restaurants, everything. I used to do waitressing, so it was really cool to have I suppose experts' opinions on what I was working with at the time and seeing how it can be improved going forward.
So we've just finished hearing all of the recommendations from the 150 citizens that came to the Citizens Panel on Food Waste here at the European Commission today. 3 of the citizens here today were Irish, and they were involved in a working group that came up with 2 recommendations. The first of those was around transparency in the food supply chain. It's hoped that they would see encouragement for players in the food supply chain to measure and record and report the amount of food waste that's generated during their process, and it's hoped that that measurement and mandatory reporting would increase transparency but also accountability then. The second was slightly different. Their second recommendation was around the packaging of food. We rely heavily in Europe on a lot of packaging for the transport of food as well as food safety, and they're really hoping that we could reduce that. Okay, so we're just back from the European Commission in Brussels, where we heard all 23 recommendations from the 150 citizens from across all of the member states. Now, the EU Commission officials did say that these recommendations won't be included in the legislation that they bring forward in June of this year, which will set legally binding food waste reduction targets. So these recommendations won't be put into law in any shape or form, but they will be included as what they said will be annexes at the end of the legislation, so that member states can look through them and look to these suggestions when they're formulating a pathway on how they're going to meet those reduction waste targets. So definitely no doubt that they'll be really useful, and a fantastic weekend hearing from all the citizens in Brussels overall.